Next thing we're going to talk about is how the Air Force is officially lowering their standards for men and women. Men used to need to be under 20% body fat to even join the Air Force. They're now raising that to 26. I think women, what does it say? They need to be at like 32,
36.
36, which is
Yeah.
eight more than they used to have to be. Okay.
Yeah.
This is just another sign that you should learn Mandarin. The United States is in a death spiral and it's just total shit. You, at 26% body fat, are a fat guy. So it's a combination of things. It's that modern Americans don't have as much muscle because they don't go out and do shit, and they have more fat because we suck. And the Air Force, they claim that, okay, we let them in with a more liberal, lax body fat percentage, but they still have to meet some kind of fitness requirement. But they don't really even state what that fitness requirement is. So you know what? I think it's BS, especially since, once people are in, it's easier to stay in than it is to get in, right? So having loosening the requirements for people to get in, it's already it's sort of like the when we talked about the photos of teenagers in World War
Yeah.
II
Yeah.
and how
Yeah. There's
fucking
a video.
how fucking
Yeah.
awesome they looked. And that was the average teenager, right? Look at the
The
average
hell, yeah.
teenager now, man.
Yeah. It's not even close.
And then you can say, well, this is just modern times, bro. Like,
Dude, picture the same thing, but for our brains. I mean, I think it's not just physical, you know?
no, I don't think it is. I think that people are dumber, believe it or not.
Yeah.
It's just modern times? No. Other countries don't look like this, guys. It's you. You're a fat, dumb American. And the Air Force has to acknowledge that.
I wonder how much of this can be attributed to just the whole, U.S. dominance,
A lot of it
Um,
because you don't have to be better,
yeah.
right? You don't have to struggle. In World War II, you had a lot of struggle. There's no guarantee that no. It's just because we've been on top for so long, and this is what happens to everybody who's on top. This is what will happen to
Yeah.
China.
But then you also got the fat acceptance and that kind of crap. So that doesn't help.
No, it doesn't. I know it's an abstraction when you say 26% body fat. Okay, we've included a link where it shows like what the typical visual is of a person with 26% body fat. Is that the kind of guy you want in the US military fighting for your country?
Just like all the defund the police and all of the crap, it really damaged reputations of police. It makes sense if you can't find like if there's not enough demand, basically, you got to lower your standards.
And people can say, well, what difference does it make? Who cares? Who cares? Blah, blah, blah. Like, guys, you do understand that one of the main reasons why our country is rich and, as a byproduct, you are rich traces back to a lot of things. The resources that your country has, but also the military might of your country. It all traces back to that. And any degradation in any of these things will, at the end of the day, trickle down to impact you and your children. What is happening? We won't get into that. That's like I don't want to get into the petrodollar and all that shit. But it just trust me when I say that the military might and the stature of your country at the end of the day impacts your quality of life. It 100% does. I try to put it this way. On all of these culture war topics, I willingly engage on them because I know the fight is necessary. But even when I fight these fucking morons on their pronouns and their
2S.
L2S LGBTQIA plus issues or whatever, even when I engage on them, I understand in the back of my mind that this is all background noise. You guys don't even know that the real fight is happening from outside, and there's people who are hungry and eager to dethrone you, and they're working nonstop to do that. And I'm here having to fight you on this nonsense.
Yep.
The point is like fucking China's trying to take over the fucking planet. Okay. And you are still talking about putting a 2S in front of LGBTQIA plus, and you're still talking about race safe spaces on our college campuses. You're still talking about all this stuff. You're still talking about ESG. You're still talking about all this shit, and you're so missing the point. And one day I will have the last laugh. Everybody's kids will be ruled by a new world order that is not liberal, that doesn't care about all of these things that you cared about.
What's sad actually are the kind of like the victims who are just going along with what MSM is saying, but they don't really. I don't know. Maybe they're just trying to be good people or whatever.
Maybe. But this is all happening and it's all background. I'm not saying it doesn't need to be fought, but it's all background noise. And I don't know. I don't know. I would love to be immortal because I could see how this all plays out, you know? I could see how like 100, years from now, when an illiberal society like China or the Middle East is fucking running shit and all these dumb fucks, they tried to cast pretty well-meaning but still very liberal Westerners like myself. They tried to call us Nazis and fascists and whatever, and we had this fight. And all while we were having this fight, the true enemies of the West and of liberalism, they took over the planet. I would love to see how that all plays out. It's not going to be pretty, I don't think, if I could guess. But whatever. So we'll have this fight over pronouns, and
I mean, on the other side, it seems like China's got its own problems. So
it does. And
yeah.
nobody can tell the future. Like, even when I say, oh, yeah, China's going to take over, you got to learn Mandarin. Well, I don't know that for sure, right? Nobody can tell the future. If I could tell the future, I'd be rich in the stock market, right? So, hey, there is even the possibility that the future is like all the woke people, they win, and everybody converts to that, even China, right?
Yeah, that
I
seems
don't know. That's possible.
fundamentally, yeah, it just seems highly unlikely just because the woke people are not productive.
I agree. So
Yeah,
you need people like the
they're not
Chinese.
they're not efficient or productive.
No,